Hello, everybody. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, Part 1, Chapter 11. Levin emptied his glass, and for a few minutes the two friends were silent. "I ought to tell you one thing, though. Do you know Vronsky?" asked Stepan Arkadyevitch. "No. Why do you ask?" "Bring us another bottle," said Oblonsky to the Tartar, who was refilling their glasses. "You must know that Vronsky is a rival of yours." "Who is this Vronsky?" asked Levin, whose face, a moment since beaming with youthful enthusiasm, suddenly grew dark. "Vronsky. He's one of Count Kirill Ivanovitch Vronsky's sons, and one of the finest examples of the gilded youth of Petersburg. I used to know him at Tver when I was on duty. He came there for recruiting service. He is immensely rich, handsome, with excellent connections, an adjutant attached to the Emperor's person, and in spite of all, a capital good fellow. From what I have seen of him, he is more than a good fellow. He's well educated and bright. He's a rising man." Levin scowled and said nothing. "Nus. He put in an appearance soon after you left, and if people tell the truth, he fell in love with Kitty. You understand that her mother—" "Excuse me, but I don't understand at all," interrupted Levin, scowling still more fiercely. He suddenly remembered his brother Nikolai and how ugly it was in him to forget him. "Just wait," said Stepan Arkadyevitch, laying his hand on Levin's arm with a smile. "I have told you all that I know, but I repeat that, in my humble opinion, the chances in this delicate affair are in your favor." Levin grew pale and leaned on the back of the chair. "But I advise you to settle the matter as quickly as possible," suggested Oblonsky, handing him a glass. "No, thank you, I cannot drink any more," said Levin, pushing away the glass. "It will go to my head. Nu, how are you feeling?" he added, desiring to change the conversation. "One word more. In any case, I advise you to act quickly. I advise you to speak immediately," said Stepan Arkadyevitch. "Go tomorrow morning, make your proposal in classic style, and God be with you. Why haven't you ever come to hunt with me, as you promised to do?" "Come this spring," said Levin. He now repented with all his heart that he had entered upon this conversation with Oblonsky. His deepest feelings were wounded by what he had just learned of the pretensions of his rival, the young officer from Petersburg, as well as by the advices and insinuations of Stepan Arkadyevitch. Stepan Arkadyevitch perceived his friend's thoughts and smiled. "I will come some day," he said. "Yes, brother, woman. She's the spring that moves everything in this world. My own trouble is bad, very bad, and all the account of women. Give me your advice," said he, taking a cigar and still holding his glass in his hand. "Tell me frankly what you think." "But what about?" "Listen. Suppose you were married, that you loved your wife, but had been drawn away by another woman. Excuse me, I can't imagine such a thing. As it looks to me, it would be as though, in coming out from a dinner, I should steal a loaf of bread from a bakery." Stepan Arkadyevitch's eyes sparkled more than usual. "Why not? Bread sometimes smells good, that one cannot resist the temptation." It's a German verse, I'm not reading that. As he repeated these lines, Oblonsky smiled. Levin could not refrain from smiling also. "But a truce of pleasantries," continued Oblonsky. "Imagine a charming, modest, lovely woman, poor and alone in the world, who would sacrifice herself for you. Is it necessary to give her up, in case my supposition were true? We'll allow that it is necessary to break with her, so as to not disturb the peace of the family, but ought we not to have pity on her, to make the separation less painful, to look out for her future? Pardon me, but you know that for me women are divided into two classes. No, that is, there are women and there are... But I never yet knew a case of a beautiful, repentant Magdalene. And as to that French creature at the bar with the false curls, she fills me with disgust, and so do all such. But woman in the New Testament? Ach, hold your peace. Never would Christ have said those words if he had known to what bad use they would be put. Out of the whole gospel, only those words are taken. However, I don't say what I think, but what I feel, nothing more. I feel a disgust for fallen women just as you do for criminals. You did not have to study the manners of the criminal classes to bring about this feeling, nor I these. It is well for you to say so. It is a very common, convenient way to do as the character in Dickens did, and throw all the embarrassing questions over the right shoulder with the left hand. But to deny a fact is not to answer it. Now tell me, what is to be done? Don't steal fresh bread. Stepan Arkadyevitch burst out laughing. Oh, moralist, but please appreciate the situation. Here are two women. One insists on her rights, and her rights means your love, which you cannot give. The other has made an absolute sacrifice and demands nothing. What can one do? How can one proceed? Here is a terrible drama. If you want me to confess what I think, I will tell you that I don't believe in this drama, and this is why. In my opinion, love, the two loves which Plato describes in his Symposium, you remember, serve as the touchstone for men. The one class of people understands only one of them, the other understands the other. Those who do not comprehend Platonic affection have no right to speak of this drama. In this sort of love there can be no drama. Much obliged to you for the pleasure you have given me, and therein consists the whole drama. But Platonic affection cannot make a drama, because it is bright and pure, and because... At this moment Levin remembered his own shortcomings and the inward struggles which he had undergone, and he added in an unexpected fashion, "However, you may be right. It is quite possible. I know nothing, absolutely nothing, about it." "Do you see?" said Stepan Arkadyevitch. "You are a man of perfect purity. Your great virtue is your only fault, and because your character is thus constituted, you desire that all the factors of life should be absolutely pure, and this can never be. So you scorn the service of the state because you see in it no service useful to society, and because, according to your idea, every action should correspond to an exact end. And this can never be. You want conjugal life and love to be one and the same, and that cannot be. And besides, all the charm, the variety, the beauty of life consists in these lights and shades." Levin sighed and did not answer. He didn't even listen. He was absorbed in the thought of what concerned himself. And suddenly both of them felt that this dinner, which ought to have brought them closer together, had widened the distance between them, though they were still good friends. Each was thinking more of his own affairs and was forgetting to feel interested in his friends. Oblonsky understood this phenomena, having often experienced it after dining, and he also knew what his course of conduct would be. "Give me the account," he cried, and went into the next room, where he met the adjutant whom he knew, and with whom he began to talk about an actress and her lover. This conversation amused and rested Oblonsky after what had been said with Levin, who always kept his mind on the strain, and wearied him. When the Tartar had brought the account, amounting to 28 roubles and odd kopecks, not forgetting his fee, Levin, who generally, in the honest country fashion, would have been shocked at the size of the bill, paid the 14 roubles of his share without noticing, and went home to dress for the reception at the Shtcherbatskys', where his fate would be decided.